because I've been highly critical of the South Dakota medical establishment with its vertical integration, where basically they sit down and decide how much they're going to pay themselves. And I've always asked, where's Teddy Roosevelt when we need him? And among other things, with my exit, the dean had legal counsel for Sanford sitting in the wings waiting to replace me and replace my health law faculty position to teach healthcare law the way it ought to be taught, not the way this heretic Myers is teaching it, because Myers suggests that
Sanford wants to control everything.
Well,
people jokingly call it Sanford Falls, but what people don't realize is it's not just that they don't want to just control the healthcare in Sioux Falls, and they want to control the universities. They want to control the state bank accounts. They want to control healthcare throughout the Midwest. They just built a big hospital in Fargo. They are, so it doesn't surprise me that they may want to replace you with that. And by the way, Tom walked in before us when we went into the doors, and I pointed him out. And I wondered if he was somebody, and the student goes in first, and the student says, come. And did you see that? Tom walked in front of us when we walked in. And when we walked in, he was gone. And I wondered where he had went.
Yes.
And so when we went upstairs, he must have came back out and came back over here. He walked in front of us. He looked and saw you, and he walked into the building. We do have it on video, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's good.
And what is his title here at the school?
He's a professor, and he came in and he spent hours with Tom Gooey. So the Tom and Toms, I think, had long conversations, and I believe they were the two. I think he probably influenced Gooey, gave him courage, along with a little, I believe, support from the Sanford structure. Because I'd send my students out occasionally to do research. And I'd send them off, for example, I sent my students out to find out how much Sanford and Navarro were paying their doctors under contracts and other issues. And they would ask, who's your professor? Oh, well, Professor Myers. Get out of here. And so I've been a target of Sanford, and so I just can't help but speculate that there might have been some discussion between the
well, they got their fingers in about everything.
Yeah, and they're very, very influential, and it's but at this stage, I'm at the if not the twilight, I'm certainly in about the seventh inning of this activity, but there it is. Oh, and among other
closing remarks.
Closing remarks.
You had obviously let's clarify here on camera. We can't go into the details of the case because you haven't put your plea in. So we are not going to say what. Let's just say we're not going to say what you're being charged with as of right now, because you have your hearing next month, and you got to put your plea in.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm charged with. I'm charged with trespassing.
Anything else you're charged with?
No, just trespassing.
So they arrested you for trespassing based on a letter.
On that persona non gratis letter, and the fact that this interim dean at the time told me never to come back. Don't you ever come back again? And apparently, it was going to last forever. And I think it's worth noting that of 200 or 300 law professors in the history of the law school, I'm the only one that ever got escorted out with a gun, or at least with a security guard. And I'm certainly the only one ever escorted out in handcuffs. And that was all done without sitting down and having a discussion. Now, Mike, your behavior, because the letter did start out saying, because you have become aggressive and hostile, you're no longer, we view you, you're not welcome to stay around.
The school never put a restraining order on you.
No restraining order, and by the way, no,
any kind.
There was no. I would have thought they sat down and said, "No, Mike, we're going so far as to kick your rear end off of here forever if you don't straighten out, or at least you can leave here in a more dignified way than having." Than having a security guard, and I couldn't go back in my office, by the way. Mm-hmm. Oh, and just as a wrap up, I thought, well, how about a faculty member coming to my aid? Well, there was a faculty member by the name of Frank Slagle. If he'd have been around, he was a tax professor, it would have never happened. But an associate dean who's since retired said, Mike, I felt bad about it, and I didn't like it. But I kept my lip buttoned. I did what I was told because I needed my job, right, and I needed my insurance. And so people, with that, so I did ask whether there was faculty involvement, faculty discussion, or was this simply Tom or Tom and Tom's behavior. You'd have thought they'd have gone to the faculty and we're going to send Myers this persona non gratis letter, going to kick his rear end off of the campus, off the law school, and he'll never come back. Is there faculty support for that? So there might have been, but anyway, they all ran for cover, and
so then we get to this, and
yes.
Like I said, we won't talk about. Obviously, you haven't had your hearing yet, but your hearing's next month.
Yes.
And then we'll go from there.
And yes, and
then we can give them more of an update.
We'll give an update on yes.
But we tracked your steps today, and it was very informative.
Very good, very good. Thank you, gentlemen.
No problem.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.